Hey guys, it's David here with Surplus Fund. I want to talk to you today about having a side hustle that could lead into a full-time position. But do me a favor, before I get into this, if you have not subscribed to my channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. Click the subscription link down below. Click the notification link. I'd love for you to be one of my lucky winners. First of all, I have found article after article like this on the internet. Teachers are leaving the profession, and they're leaving them by the thousands, I guess. I guess it's all the way across the United States. Teachers are leaving, they're moving. Okay, so this goes into a lot of the history of who I am. When I was a kid, I grew up in a single parent household, and my mom, God bless her, she worked and she worked very hard. We didn't have a lot of income, and when I wanted something, I usually had to pay for it on my own. I had a paper route at the age of 10, and I loved it. I used to ride the bike and throw papers, and people would tip me, and I absolutely loved it. When I went into high school, I had my first jobs, but I also sold avocados door to door as a kid, and I just go, hey, you want to buy some avocados? And I would do that. Hey, want to buy avocados here? And having garage sales and stuff like that. I was always making money. I was kind of different than my regular peers. And then I graduated from college, and I was working a few odd jobs, and I was working at a hotel as a night auditor. And I was putting up with too many stories of talking people off the roof at night, which is a whole other story. But one guy was going to jump. He was like 75, and he had on this white t-shirt and only a white t-shirt, and he was going to jump off the roof. That night I put in my resignation, and I actually went back to school, graduated from college a little late, started teaching high school math, and I thought, okay, I could definitely do this. And when I first started teaching, I absolutely loved it. I worked in the HLP Unified School District. I taught at Los Altos High School. I had some really good classes. I absolutely loved it. Then I moved to a different district, and I was there. I was in the profession total with subbing for 21 years. So I was there for quite a while. I wasn't far from retirement, but I was just like at the end, I was having class sizes between 40 to 42. And literally 28 to 30% of students that were coming into my class had failed previous level math. And when I looked at their transcripts, they were failing everything. And all the admin was caring about was us passing the kids. But when I would go and I would show the data, like, how are these kids? Like, when a kid's failing every single class, it was beyond my control to be able to take that kid and be able to get them to pass just my class. And that's one thing I would hear is, what are you doing to get them to pass your class? Well, we're already accepting homework in its any time. It's no longer has a deadline. There's no tardy policy. Kids were basically coming and going as they wanted, and it was just like it was just chaos. And we've already adapted, but there has to be some effort from the student, and we weren't seeing that as much. And it's kind of scary because we're living in a culture right now where we're getting more and more high tech and less in the entry level jobs, which we need entry level jobs. We need people to be able to have that job, and you need people to be able to do that. And it was kind of concerning to me when I was seeing this, and I was getting nowhere, and it was a level of frustration. So I look at this, and I look at what's going on with teachers across the US, and I'm wondering how many of them have a side hustle. So this one I called a couple years after. I called just to say, hey, how's it going, and wanted to say hi. And this teacher was telling me that they could not wait until retirement. It was 10 to 12 years away. And that's all I heard on the conversation. He goes, it's so bad about wanting to pass kids. He goes, I literally put the answers to the final up around the wall because it's no longer about teaching, it's about passing your kids, which is what I was seeing a lot of. And he goes, literally, all my students had to do was get up on the final exam, walk across, and write the answers down if they wanted to. And he goes, and less than half of them did that. And this was going on from classroom to classroom. I saw teachers walk out. I saw teachers forced out. I was tenured. But I saw a lot of things happening, and it was just really sad. And I saw the pressure going on teachers, and I came home and I just told my wife one day, I said, I'm done. I'm done. I need a break. And luckily I had a side hustle that was turning into a full-time business. So I would challenge you to do a side hustle. What I really love about Surplus Fund is I just did a video a couple days ago on a property in Florida. I was given 5 properties from a county. 4 of them, actually one of them went for a surplus of $1. So take that one out. 4 of them had surpluses north of $6,000, where literally you could make a commission from $2,500 all the way up. I think the highest one was like, in my 30%, it probably would have been somewhere around 12,000, and literally you do a couple of these a week, you could be really making a nice side hustle. And even if it's not surplus fund, it could be real estate, it could be flipping. Now, one of the things I do like about surplus funds versus real estate, I flip properties, as you all know. So I'm in a project right now, and it's a smaller project, $106,000 purchase price. Okay, that's being done in cash. $15,000 in rehab, cash. $120,000. Now, let's say that that's not being done in cash. Let's say that I had to do this. Okay, I come in at 20% down. So I'm coming in at 25,000 down, and most of them require that you do most of the rehab or up front. So in order to do that house, I would have to come in with somewhere between 20 to 40,000 down, probably about 30 to 35. So you have to have 35,000. Then you have to be firing contracts, showing up daily, picking up supplies. It's hard to find that perfect contractor, and when you usually do, they usually have tons of other jobs, and you're lucky if you grab them when you have them. Wholesaling. The problem with wholesaling, and the reason why I don't do wholesaling as much, and I love wholesaling, I've done plenty of it, is I can't tell you when I was brand new in the business how many people tried to wait until they knew my contract was going to expire, and then they came in and they lowballed me. I could write a book on that alone, and a couple properties I actually closed on myself, and people came back and they said, oh wow, well I would have worked with you, I would have done something. So I look at what I was in the profession, and I feel like when I first started teaching, I liked working with young people. Many of my students knew that I did side hustles. In fact, I still get emails and stuff, or Facebook on some of them, and someone will still contact me and say, hey, I'm doing real estate, or I'm doing this, or I'm in that. Some of them have gone through various programs that I've had, or clubs I've had, or what have you, and it's awesome to see that. It's awesome to see that entrepreneur mindset. But like, I just gave a video on retirement where it amazes me that less than, I think it's 85% of the people in the United States can retire independent and not have to rely on some sort of other income coming in. And that's where I see teachers, they got a great retirement, they have a great medical plan, but it's just like, I looked at the 28 to 30 students that I had in every single class that had failed the previous level math, and I couldn't work with them. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm done. And literally I'd come home to my wife and I'm like, I'm just done with this. I can't keep this energy. I can't keep this level up. And she was very supportive. She was great. She's like, just reminding me that I had a family. Luckily at that point, I was doing surplus funds. I was involved in it. I was also doing real estate training, and I think you've all heard the story where Spencer Van and I sat down and had a conversation because I wanted to do a course on training real estate, and Spencer actually had challenged me to go into the surplus fund because it was a unique market, and I did that. And then I look at articles like this. I saw on LinkedIn the other night, and it was just like, it just said teachers by the thousands leaving. I saw one in my local news. Over half of the teachers have quit within a 10-year time span. Many of the teachers that can take early retirement are jumping on the boat and they're running. And I'm hearing that a lot from my former colleagues. And I would have had to put in at least another 6-7 years. And it's just, I got to the point where it's just like, I can't take this anymore. I can't do this. And really, is that the pandemic part of it? Well, that might be, but when you have a group of students coming into your room that don't care about learning, they don't want to learn, they don't have to learn, and they're being passed on, for me, it was like, okay, I need some sort of effort here. And maybe they got someone in. I know the person who replaced me didn't last a year in the position, and they walked, and I don't know what happened after that. I know the pandemic hit eventually and some other stuff hit, but there was one point where they weren't going to give us a 0.75% raise. 0.75%. They were offering it to us for a year, and only a year. It was called a bonus, not even a raise. And then they wanted to reevaluate. Meanwhile, the union had to fight for a 3% raise. They barely got that. All the administrators got the 3% raise, and every administrator in the district, in addition, got a 10% raise that year. And it's like, wow. So they come in and they get a 13% raise. We're being offered less than a 1% bonus for a year. And we're working and we're expected to do this. And you look, I look at reasons like that on why teachers are leaving. I mean, the hard part about walking out is, and everyone's going to say, yep, there it is. There's a reason why not to leave your job, is the hardest part has been the benefits. You have a family and you have to find a healthcare plan, and you have to find one that's suitable. Now, I have found a MediShare. It's decent. The only time I really used it was when I had COVID. I had it in August. I had it pretty bad, for those of you that don't know that, but I had it really bad. But other than that, I mean, literally, I make more money. I'm able to be flexible with my kids. I hope I don't ever think of my kids as students. I'm able to do things with the family. I'm able to be flexible. The hard part about being self-employed is, like I said, the benefits. It is a little stressful because you think, okay, what if my job were to end tomorrow? What if this were to happen? Now, another thing that people talk a lot about is retirement, and I just gave a whole YouTube video on investments that I would recommend that I see people doing that have been fairly successful. I saw my grandmother, she retired, and she didn't work. My grandfather worked, and they paid off their house at an early age. They put money into bonds, and I mean, the family had a very much, when she left, the family very much, she left the family a very decent portion of her estate. What was funny is I was cleaning my grandmother's house, and I'm just tell this story. I'm off on a tangent here, but I kid you not, I was cleaning her house, and I was helping the family move it and sell it because I have an expertise. And I was just picking up stuff and moving stuff out, and I picked up a bag, and I noticed a bill in it. I thought, oh, there's a couple bucks in here. It was actually that thick. It actually ended up being like just over $10,000, and it was just insane. And I got it to the family. I called my mom. I'm like, I'm not leaving the house with this money without you knowing about it. I mean, it was pretty. And my mom's like, all right, just make sure it gets in we'll make sure it gets in the right account. I just, you feel weird about something like that, and it was kind of like giving someone unclaimed funds, kind of like what I'm used to doing, and I love doing it. But I say this because I see people that, I mean, if watch my video on retirement, and if you put away $150 a month or $300 a month at a certain compound interest, and I do that 10%. My company has an average of 15%. Meanwhile, diverse your portfolio. I mean, there's so many things you could do, but it starts off with the side hustle, and I'm seeing more and more articles like this, and this one it's huge to me because I'm looking at it and I'm saying, wow, I know I made the right decision. I've been very blessed. I'm very grateful for what's happened. I'm very grateful for the people who succeeded in this company and have done very well, and the people I work with, from the business partner I have to all the independent contractors I have to the people that work this business, and we have quite a team. And it took Spencer and I 6 months of webinars, 19 webinars before we had our first sale. We worked the business for well over a year without being paid because we had to build it up. The hard part about it is I was used to bringing in money from real estate and surplus funds and other things, and I had stopped that to work on the company. So it was kind of like, wow, it was a little while where it was like, okay, I need to do something else. But it's been very, very rewarding and very much of a privilege to work with everyone I work with. So if you're a teacher out there, kudos to you. God bless you. I truly mean that. And yeah, I encourage everyone to do a side hustle. I hope that we can get the importance of learning, because this always comes down to teachers and pay. But I look at the 28 students that would come into every class to 30 students that had failed previous math. And I look at the students that we have across the nation, like all the students that we have across the nation that are unmotivated. It's like, what can we do to turn you into the importance of realizing, like, you're getting a free education that many countries don't have. Like when I was at Los Altos High School, which was one of my best high schools ever, and it was totally different than the high school I ended. We had a young lady come over from China. She was in their low-level test scores, and she was going to have to work the fields for the rest of her life. And she came over to us, and she maxed out in all of our honors classes and everything. I mean, she just maxed out. I remember one time I had a TA and Jeffrey, and he was from China also, and I was showing a math problem on the board, and I'll never forget this story. He goes, "Mr. Church, that's really interesting. Can I do something here?" And I looked at him. I'm in the middle of an assignment and teaching and instruction. I said, "Sure, Jeffrey." And he took my marker and he solved this problem unlike I ever would have solved it. I understood what he did, but his mind frame and the mechanics behind thinking, and he explained what he'd been taught, where he had maxed out in math by his freshman year at the high school level, went to junior college to get some higher math, and had maxed out by his junior year. He was maxed out in the math. Probably the most intelligent kid I worked with. I wrote him a recommendation for Harvard. He got denied because he basically, they felt like he didn't have enough extracurriculars, what the counselor had said, or the person who denied him. He took a full ride to USC, and he was kind of bummed about that. I'm like, Jeffrey, any student in my class would love to be in your position. But I look at our education. I look at when I started it 21 years ago. I looked at it when I left, which it's been longer than that now. Yeah, I'm dating myself, I know. And it's just, we need people that are educated in our society. Like when we had the Great Recession, when I read an article, there was over 1 million job demands for high-tech positions, and we were outsourcing those out of the United States because we didn't have enough people educated to be able to do these kind of jobs. And we need to be bringing this into the school, showing kids how, and re-emphasize learning. And it's really sad. And if you're a teacher, I'm going to end this with God bless you. I hope you're doing the best for our students. I got to the point where I just wasn't, and I knew I wasn't, because I felt like the card I was dealt when I first started and the card I was dealt at the end were just unworkable. You know, I probably would have side hustled until I retired, but you know, I just, thank God, other doors opened. I had another plan for my life, and boom, I went for it. Hey everyone, I thank you for watching this. Do me a favor, like this video, go ahead and click the like down below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, click the notification link, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.